It is said, this is the most wonderful time of year. It can be. It can be, and it can't be. We got to work at it. We've got to do just what you sang to us. Open our hearts and our minds and do our work, that we can make this a wonder-filled season. It's the time when darkness comes and the lights remind us that that light is within. But they also say that Christmas and the holidays are for children. I have fun too, you know. But it's the childlike nature in all of us. Wow. Kirk and I got to spend yesterday, well, actually we've spent a lot of time with our little granddaughter. I don't want to miss a moment. But we were down at a park in San Diego taking pictures, and you know, my family's quite, well, that part of the family is quite spontaneous. But to see a child, 6 months old, and the pictures and the smiles that just bubble up for no reason, and the happiness, and it makes you realize that that's how we're made. We're made the same way. And being around that energy brings it out in us, that there is that innocence, the vulnerability, the trust in life in a child, and it's in us. It's right here. But we've got to work on it. Just as we were talking about, we can get crusted over. You know, what gets us crusty and cranky and looking at life with, it was Michael, you're reading, what gets us all crusty and cranky and filled with distrust and upset? It's because we've covered up that spark of goodness, that nature of God that's in us. It's not in some people. It's in everyone. But it's got to be worked at. It's there, but we can fall in to the distrust. We can fall into the lack of faith. We can fall into the consciousness that life is not for us, but actually life is against us, which is not the truth we teach. Okay, quick question. How many of you watched the USC World Cup soccer games? Well, after being at soccer games for so long in my life, I did. I got up early Saturday morning, but that one they didn't win. But the one they won with Iran, Yunus Musa, he had his 20th birthday in that game, and they won by 1 point. And at the end of the game, the newscaster came on and said, well, Yunus, first of all, happy birthday, and what a way to spend your birthday, but what are you going to do now? You're playing the Netherlands next time, and they're like ranked really high. What are you going to do? And this is what he said, and I went in and wrote it down because it's what we need to do if we're going to make this a wonder-filled life, but a season right now. We have to grow up every single game. We learn from this game to see what we have to do to win. And I'm sure he didn't mean just win the game, which of course is the goal. But what the US team is known for is their camaraderie and the way they work together and the friendships that have been made with such a young team. But I say we have to grow up every day. And we have to learn from our experiences and say, what is it? What is it that I need to learn from today to make my life more wonderful? Not wonder to live in awe and wonder. And that means sometimes, like when we were driving home last night, oh my gosh, the sunset, that was wonderful. That was awe-inspiring. But there's also times in life where we go, oh my God, I wonder what's going to happen. I wonder what I should do. But if you're living in the question, if you're asking, I wonder what's going to happen, I wonder what I should do, you're still in the wonder of life. We have to learn how we can make life more wonderful. And it begins right now. I don't know what you walked in here with. I know right now many people in our community are celebrating wonderful things, and there's a lot of hardship, health challenges, financial challenges, relationship challenges. There's many both sides. But think right now, I'm going to just give you a few seconds. What's wonderful in your life right now? Pull it up. What's wonderful? Just think about it. I don't care what you came in here with. We're designed that way. There is something wonderful for us that we can hold near and dear right now, we can remember. If it's really hard in the moment, we have to get to that place where we really sit and say, you know what? I am a child of God. You know, youth is not a time in your life. Youth is a state of mind. It's the way we think about life, that we're young and available and we're ready. The minute we lose our enthusiasm for life and let it grow, lose our separation from God, our connection from that goodness that created us, then we start to get old. We start to fear, distrust, look at life, distrust ourselves, but also life in general, and we don't find the good. We started this center because of these teachings, that life is inherently good. Inherently. And that God is for us and never against us. Having the greatest loss I can imagine of a child, without this teaching, I could not have found a leg to stand on. But because I know that no matter what's going on in this experience, the outer world, there's a place in us that knows the truth. There's something better. This is what Ernest Holmes said. We must return the way we came, as little children, who know that life is good and can be trusted. So when that doubt and pain and hurt and sorrow seep in, we can say, oh, I remember life is good. There's something for me to grow into from this, something more going on than just what I see in this present moment situation that hurts a lot or is uncomfortable. Now, I know in this time of year, how many of you have decorated your houses yet? Or at least started? Okay, to make things wonderful, it takes work, doesn't it? This just didn't happen. William didn't get up here and just sing that song for the very first time. It takes work to be wonderful. We're born wonderful, but we got to keep it up. We've got to develop it. We've got to keep growing and be teachable. That's what I notice about little Naya. She's so teachable. She looks at Baba with this laugh and fun, because he's a fun one. I'm the teacher. So she always looks at me and goes, what are you going to teach me today? So this week we learned how to take her binky and cover it and see if she could find it. I had more fun. And anyway, we don't need to know more. But it's life is fun. It's here to work and to be comfortable and to learn. There's no one who has more good in them than others. Some people express it more. But we all have the same inherent goodness in us, no matter what. That one mind, the one goodness that we call God, Spirit, infinite intelligence, creative possibility, whatever it is in all of us. We all deserve to be loved. There's no one person that is better than any other. No matter how you were born, in what situation. It doesn't matter your religion, your race, your sexual orientation, your financial state. It doesn't matter any of that. We should all be proud that we are children of God, that we're made in that image and likeness, that we have the same tendencies. Now, what I explained several weeks ago, and I tried to explain it again last week, but I couldn't remember, but I did remember. I said, if God is a pie, we would all be a slice of God, because there's nothing else. We'd all be that slice. But when I said we have to work at developing it and growing into it, because we're evolving, we're growing our soul, we're becoming enlightened, illumined, whatever you want to call it, we have to do the work. It doesn't work for us unless we work with it. It's there for us, waiting when we take one step towards God, towards goodness, towards love. It comes rushing in. There's no balance of an eye for an eye type thing. It comes rushing in, but we've got to open the door. Open the door. So there's some things we can do. So I'm just going to give you a little test, just a tiny little test, because there's some things we can do to be more open and available to the presence of good, to those childlike qualities that are in us. Number one, what are you doing right now as far as keeping your mind and heart open to the greater good? You might call it spiritual development, spiritual practices. What are you doing to keep open and available? We can get rusty. The world out there can be very intoxicating and pull us into things that keep us away from the truth that we know. So what are you doing? Are you reading spiritual books? Are you going to a spiritual counselor? Are you in classes? Are you having spiritual conversations? What are you doing? Just think about that. Because I'm going to ask you at the end, what are you going to do to become more wonderful? So I'm just giving you some fodder to think about right now. The second thing, that I think is really important is, remember what Maria Shriver said? We have to remember how important we are to each other. So how are you sharing your light, your goodness, your love? How are you remembering that? And sharing it and being out in the world, touching each other. A smile, anything, but to make the world a better place. When you get out of your own way, it's amazing how much more you can like yourself when you get out of your own way. The third thing that we can do is make changes. Are there any habits you have that could be a little healthier? I'm just thinking, there might be a thing or two we could do that's a little healthier, one step at a time, right? But just a little. Did I just say that before the holidays? Oh my gosh, what was I thinking? I'm not sure. But just, if it's healthy thoughts, healthy feelings, to move into something more, something to make it healthier. And then if you do eat that giant meal, love yourself anyway. It's okay. And last but not least on this list is, this is always interesting. I remember talking about this for a long time, that we are a composite of the 5 people we spend the most time with. So if the people around you aren't quite as positive as you'd like, get some new friends. Just add them to the circle, okay? Just add them to the circle. You don't have to give up on the old ones, but get some new friends, because we want to be in that energy of light and love that we can share it and be it with others, to be like little children. So I have a little, this is something, again, that Ernest Holmes says. The childlike mind meets the divine face to face. There's no separation. When it was, not Ernest Holmes, Rumi. Rumi said, which I say all the time, why do you stay in prison when the door is so wide open? Why do you stay in prison? We should not be seeking for love, just seeking for all the barriers we've built against it. We're made of love, that's who we are. But we need to get those prison walls down, get the cage we've locked ourselves into something bigger, something more. That's what I'm going to invite us to do, because any little adjustment we make in our mind and heart, our whole exterior experience starts to change. You can't change on the inside without the outside starts changing. When the way we look at things depends on I can't remember, never mind. It's going to come out so wrong that it's not going to make any sense. I'm going to ask you to do this, so just close your eyes for a minute and put your feet on the floor. How childlike are you? How trusting are you that life is good? How much childlike faith do you have? Just as Michael read in his reading, do we have faith in God the way a child has faith in their parent for strength, for support, for understanding? When we find a childlike faith in the universe and an implicit trust in the goodness of God, our life will always change for the better. So I'm going to ask you, and before you open your eyes, I'm just going to ask you to be in that whatever contemplative place. What's one thing you could do today to make your life more wonderful, more childlike, more trusting, more faithful, more connected to our oneness with God and life? What can you do to awaken that inner divine nature, that inner realization that we are one? What could you do today? And then I'd like you just to take a nice deep breath. And know you have everything you need right now to make that possible, to make it happen. We have to do the work. So, on this note, I'd like you to open your eyes and just repeat after me. I am proud to be me.
I am proud to be me.
God did a good job making me. Now I'm going to do a good job making me wonderful, fabulous, delightful. It's up to us. It was Hafez that said, God gave us the most important truth when he sang something. I'm really sorry. I'm a little tired, but that's okay. But I'm really happy, and I feel really wonderful. This is so simple, too. I am made whole by your life. Remember that pie? I am made whole by your life. Each soul completes me. If you keep that in your mind and heart, how much you're loved, how much you're cared for, this will be a wonderful season no matter what happens, no matter what goes on. There's something in us stronger than any outer experience, but a goodness we can reveal to handle everything and anything. I know that about us. We have to keep our prayers active, our hearts alive, our minds open, and our arms around each other. I put my arms around each of you. I love you, and happy holidays. We're just getting started, and so it is. Thank you.